Welcome again, Alice, and you're going to walk us through this, explaining where we are, how we got here, and maybe how we can get out of here or learn something from it.
Oh,
Thank you,
okay.
Alice.
Um, I just happened to find this picture in my files, and I thought it was interesting because it was from IG Connecting Consciousness. I had no idea if that was part of Simon Parkes or something else, but I just liked the fact and I liked what it said.
Excellent.
Okay. I guess I'm kind of introducing myself again in this, I see.
That's all right. Well, we
But,
can
okay.
never understand where we are too much, Alice, but you were going to mention a perspective from outer space.
Well, what go back one. Okay, when the Hubble went out there, this was one of the first pictures it took in outer space. And obviously somebody put the picture of a little guy sitting looking out the eye. And as we have gone on, and that's like 20 years ago, whenever Hubble was out there. And now, as you see, our technology is getting better and we are seeing space more clearly. And this is interesting. And then I do have one more. It's not here. I just found it. And as Hubble is even farther into space, it's aimed outward and it's showing all the various constellations. So we're learning so much more as time goes on.
So, Alice, you're saying that if we're too close to something, it looks one way, but if we get a farther away from something, we have a different perspective and can see it a little bit differently.
Yes. And as we move farther along in time, we see more too. And then back in the 90s, I had the good fortune to see the astronaut Edgar Mitchell. And he had his aha moment coming back from space. He looked down at our little globe that we call Earth and thought, how can we know anything? And basically that was the case because so much was starting to open up to us right about back then. Now this is interesting. I'm going to be referring to this a couple times, and let me move this. I have there we go. I'm going to be talking about a couple things here. One, the large cycles, and you look at the Leo on the left side there, all the way to the Pisces, and we're at the end of that little Pisces. We're at the end of that it's about a 13,000 year negative masculine, and we're right in the middle there. So I will be coming back to this to talk about the Pisces and the Aquarius, and then where we're going from Aquarius, Capricorn, etc. We're not going back to the divine feminine, which was the positive before the negative on the left. We're going to the balance of the two. And this is why there's so much gender confusion right now. But we are going into the 2100 year Aquarius age. And if you want to go to the next one. Okay, at the same time that we're in this 2100 year Aquarius age, we are also going through the Photon Belt. Photon Belt is positive energy. So we are going to be bombarded with this positive energy as well as the positive energy from the positive Aquarian cycle. Okay.
Just Alice, real quick though. So you're saying are these representing two different cycles overlapping or intersecting?
No, one is, those are the Pleiades, and our solar system is part of the Pleiades. You can see it on the bottom there. It says our solar system. Okay, and all those others are planets in the Pleiades.
Okay, and the Photon Belt represents
just a positive energy belt that we are going through for about 2,000 years.
Okay, terrific.
And then I love this one. If anyone has noticed how bright the sun is lately, And this is so cool because I can hardly see looking up at the sun. There's a reason for it. Every 26,000 years, the sun is this close to Earth. And it's almost like God's way of saying, come on, guys, we're going into the light. Time to wake up. So this is a good thing, a very good thing. And this one. Okay, I talked a little bit about those timelines and cycles. We also have a timeline that is a 200,000 year timeline, which I believe was like that yellow. And we're at the end of that now. And the way that it's kind of falling off at the end is kind of symbolic of us going into the fifth dimension. So the timeline we've been on really isn't any, or won't be anymore once we're into the fifth dimension. It's going to be a whole different thing. Now, if you go to the next slide, and I came up with the 200,000 years due to what I saw here. I'm not sure if it's exactly that amount of time, or I thought it was longer, but this is almost like the Cain and Abel story. There was a good Anunnaki brother and a bad. And the good one said, after 200,000 years, we have to let these humans evolve on their own. And the bad one says, no, we want to control them forever. So there are descendants from both of those Anunnaki brothers. And we probably know who some of the bad ones, the bad descendants are, because we're seeing how hard they're fighting now not to lose control. Okay, let me see what I was going to say on this one now.
Well, this is back to your cycle. So it's showing the
yes.
negative masculine and the positive feminine.
And
I was intrigued. I was intrigued by this kingdom of the world versus kingdom of heaven. That was kind of startling.
Well, we're all in the kingdom of heaven. We're all part of the bigger power, the God power. So, and this is stuff that's just happening within that. I didn't make this up, but it was the only one that I could find that showed very nicely the like 13,000 year cycles, the negative and the positive. And it also showed the shorter cycles, the 2,100 year cycles. And see, and I couldn't figure out how to do another chart that showed that, well, all of them together. And yes, this was the best I could do. I wouldn't have put Kingdom of Heaven there, but it came with it. So I'm going to be talking about the Aryan Pisces and then going into the Piscean age. That's it. Okay. We're at the decadent end of the Piscean age, and I'm going to be comparing it to the decadent end of the Aryan age and how similar it is. So you can go to the next slide. Oh, Metamorphis. We are in the process of metamorphosis, going from the caterpillar to the butterfly. I love this. And it was a crop circle in 2009. So these people from outer space that are doing these crop circles, they know what's going on. Okay. Okay, this is just showing the comparison of the decadent end of the Aryan age and the decadent end of the Piscean age. We have stadiums, just like they did 2,000 years ago, all about keeping people together so they can control them very easily. Okay. And these are quotes from the end of the Aryan age. Plato and there's a couple more too. And it's just exactly what we're going through now. Exactly.
Yes, this is good about the falsehoods in school, young people being taught the falsehoods in school. So many similar feelings and sentiments in the past as in our time.
Yes, same here. The battles, we have the football battles there.
And this was kind of fun. This is kind of like a top 10 list of everything bad recipe for societal outcomes.
And this is exactly what happened back then at the decadent end of that Aryan age. So it's the same thing, but at a higher level now. And I love the fact, like Plato, there have been very wise people all through history. I love this.
Well, you also talk about timeline, and in our own timeline, we all have our own personal timeline. So
Yep.
as we get older, we do see things a little bit differently, and some of those parallel the rise and falls of empires.
And this is kind of fun. But once again, from back at the end of the Aryan age. And this I like, because we are leaving. The sun is taking us into a new time, and we're leaving all this trash that we're living in, and we are looking into the future. And this is exciting. Okay, retrogrades. Most people have heard of them, usually Mercury. But I want to explain what a retrograde planet is. In our solar system, obviously, everything goes around in the proper fashion, but there are times from the Earth's perspective that other planets may appear to be going backwards. That's what a retrograde is. Okay, these were the 7 planets that were retrograde this year. These are the heavy-duty planets. Pluto, transformation; Saturn, the teacher; luck. A lot of people aren't going to have luck when there's a retrograde. Neptune, intuition. People are not intuiting correctly. Chiron's interesting, because if you haven't learned lessons, and it's a comet, by the way, it's not a planet. If you haven't learned lessons, this will teach you lessons. And everybody goes through a Chiron return between their 49th and 51st birthday. So if you haven't learned something in life by then that you're supposed to, that's when it'll probably hit you. Uranus, unexpected happenings. And then Mercury. And Mercury is like 3 times a year, and it's only 3 weeks, and it's about communication. So there could be communication screw-ups or even self-communication. Okay, this is interesting. I have a few. I love Nina Adolfsson. She's in Sweden, and she does these graphs that are so good and easy to see what's going on. On the left side, you see that blue line going perpendicular, and all the retrograde planets. Now Pluto, it looks like it's direct now. That was the only one that was outside of that blue line. Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune, Chiron, Uranus, and that's it. Okay. So those are the retrogrades, and as it has to do with the times we're in, and I'll get into that a little bit more about the people and what they're going through now. The bad guys is what I'm saying, because a lot of them are coming down now, and we will slowly see more and more of that. Like that one thing I just sent you, and you can post it if you'd like, about Facebook being taken over by the Space Force. And so Zuckerberg is down, and there's several more to go. But these bad guys are coming down due to all these retrogrades. Now, when you look at the other side, all those lines point to things that are not retrograde. Now, Mercury was a short time, but we look at Mars, the sun, and for the most part, Mercury was direct. The moon goes quickly, that doesn't count. So this is all the good guys on this side. And this is all the energies that's helping take the bad guys down. And I just thought this was awesome. And I think I have 3 or 4 of them from the middle of October that all basically showed the same thing. So it's a lot of powerful energy bringing the bad guys down. They are having their karmic debt now. Another one. And then the full moon, this was neat because we were all excited. We wanted to see things happening and we were emotional about it. And this is neat. The full moon in Aries, we had a fiery emotion about, hey, let's get those bad guys down. And before that, like 2 weeks before, was the new moon in Libra. And so we were still kind of calm about it. But by the middle of the month, we wanted to see some things happening. And they are happening now. It's exciting.
Alice, I'm waiting for this love life part to kick in. When is that going to happen?
Well, when do you want it to happen? No. Everything's planned by God. I'm sorry. But if you're doing, and I'll get into this when I go into how this personally affects people. If you are working with your North Node, your vibration goes up and you attract better stuff. And so if you really want the love life to come in, you better raise your vibration, work with your North Node. That's what I had to do. That's why I had to go through the damn death experience, because I wasn't working with my positive energy. I wasn't growing where I was supposed to grow. And everybody goes through these things for the most part.
And Alice, when you say get into it further, that's you're really referring to when you work with a client on their chart and their own personal situation, right?
Yes, these are the moon nodes are critical, and where they have retrograde planets are critical. So those are the big things. Obviously, I tell more, and if they want to see where they've lived in past lives, I do a world map with astrocartography, and I can tell what countries they've lived in. Most of them resonate with it because someplace in their subconscious, they remember all this. So I like doing that too.
And then Alice, you're saying that where these lines overlap, that's where your comfort zone is. So this is where you're
well,
feeling.
Let me explain about the moon nodes. Okay, these are the orbits of the moon and the sun. Where the moon, that circle goes down, that one that you had, that was the south node, which is where you grew in your last lifetime. Now, this lifetime, the north node is the one going up. Yes, and that's where you're supposed to be growing in this lifetime. Now, who's come up with all this stuff? It's like, who came up with Mars's energy and who came up with the moon as emotion? You know, I don't know. I have no clue, because they've had astrology for thousands of years. So I don't know where they came up with all this stuff.
So this is where we're growing in this lifetime. This is where we grew in our last lifetime. And when it overlaps, this is where we feel kind of at balance and happy and at peace, but it's not necessarily where we need to be.
No, we're supposed to be on the north node. That's the one. Yep.
But we're not always, right? Like, we experience both. We experience a growing and a...
We come into this life with the comfort zone from the past life. That's the south node. And at different points in your life, you'll go through experiences that will help you grow towards your north node. And like my death experience helped me grow towards my north node. And when my astrologer told me, I walked out. I didn't want to grow because it meant I had to start focusing on different things, focusing on life differently. But when you do, then you vibrate higher and you attract better stuff in your life.
Okay, but in this life, are we all on this trajectory, whether we want to be or not?
Yes, we are, but we all have different signs and different houses of the chart that they're in.
I see.
So,
well, that's pretty significant. So that's a very significant part. So we could be on this path in a really bad situation and really not want to be here, but we are here. So we need to accept. We need to accept that.
I like this little meme of the north node and the south node and balance. The north node is where we're to go. That's the top part of the picture, where that little animal is upside down, and we have to turn it right side up this lifetime. And the south node, where we've turned upright, so we're comfortable with that. but this lifetime we have to do it with this other animal on top. And it's about coming into balance. That's all it's about. And hence, many people have seen the balance thing. On my cookbook, I use that balance thing because it's the yin and yang of the kitchen. So it's the unhealthy family recipes that everybody loves. And then to get to a healthier lifestyle is the last part of the cookbook. Just simple things.
Alice, the yin and yang of my kitchen are my dirty dishes and my clean dishes.
I love it. I love it. And then, of course, the kitten, the balance.
I thought this was good too. The universe doesn't punish us or bless us. It simply responds to our vibration.
Yes, everything's about vibration.
As you were saying, like if you want your love life to improve, you need to like concentrate your energy and your vibration in that direction.
And there may be other things in your chart too. So I'd have to see the chart to know about that specifically. So, okay, now where was I going with this one now?
Well, this is the cycle versus the timeline.
Yep. And we're right in the middle there, and we're right at the end of the timeline. So there's a lot of stuff going on. When we go into a better place or go through change, there's always big chaos in the middle. And here are a lot of heavy duty things bringing that chaos into the world right now. This is why we're seeing all this.
Oh, okay. So this is in itself a significant time. So it's the intersection of the two cycles.
Of the two cycles there, and then the two smaller cycles and the timeline. That's all very impactful stuff. Very much so. So this is a big, big change. Hence the sun. I think that's the next one again.
We got the chess game first, I believe.
Oh,
that's all right.
Yes, I love this. A friend of mine sent me a short video. It's like 11 minutes. And it's so relaxing and so peaceful. And this is the kind of videos we need to see because the bad guys want us in fear and emotionally distraught. But this 11-minute video, the man's voice is so peaceful. And then the last half he talks about we're in a chess game and we only have 7 moves left. And the good guys know they're going to win. And the bad guys, because of who they are, what they are, tend to be very narcissistic. They think they're going to win and they're going to work hard. And this is why we're seeing them work so hard right now with the jab. And I won't go into any more, but they are working so hard to control us. They're working so hard for the New World Order. Which is not going to happen, and working so hard for the, we have Klaus Schwab. He's gone now. And he was one of the higher ups that has been taken down. And so we have these people from the New World Order and the Reset and the Georgia Guidestones where they want 90% of the population gone. We're still going to have maybe 40% gone, but it'll be because of past life stuff that they're paying for this time around. But those 7 moves, and it depends on how we are, and connecting consciousness is one of the positives. And there are a lot of other positive groups out there that are making these 7 moves either quicker or longer.
Oh.
And so, but it's
now, Alice, that's a very hopeful idea. Visual idea, conceptual idea to think of connecting consciousness as one of the chess pieces. That's a lovely thought. And the other groups. Thank you for mentioning the other groups.
Once again, God's sign, we are going into the light. I love it. I just love it. And the old world is ending and the new earth is forming.
Alice, earlier in the presentation, we mentioned the kingdom of the earth versus kingdom of heaven. That's kind of the idea of the stuff. Like we're kind of in the stuff phase right now and moving into the more spiritual focus.
Yes. And the new earth it's going backwards, yes, but it's going to taking care of ourselves, maybe doing gardens again, doing stuff that connects us to the earth and the sun. And and I love this. I love it.
Terrific. Alice, I'm going to end the share. Is there any other slide, any slides you want to refer back to before we ask for questions or comments?
Just the fact that when I do charts, the two main things that I focus on are where you're supposed to be growing, the moon nodes, and also if you have retrograde planets and what houses of your chart they're in. And this would be karmic debt you need to pay this time around before you can move forward. And a lot of people, when I tell them where they had some karmic debt, they say, oh yeah, I had this happen or that happened. So they know, they realize that something happened that was not positive, but they learned from it. And I just explained it was karmic debt you had to pay from a past life. Now, something that really woke me up to this was 5 to 10 years ago, there was that baby, I saw a picture of it, washed ashore in the Mediterranean. And that picture kept coming up, and my heart hurt. Being a human, being empathic, being caring, it hurt. And then finally, God said, this person has karmic debt to pay from something they did, that soul did in the last lifetime. So this person had to die because of whatever. And so that helped me understand a lot more, because a lot of people are going to be dying. A lot of people taking the jab and having the bad effects and maybe dying or having blood clots or whatever. We don't know what these people did in their past life, that they had to go through that in this lifetime. So it all fits together, and we're seeing it now. It's fascinating, but a lot of people are going to die. Not the 90% that they want, but maybe 40% or so I've heard someplace.
Alice, I feel like I have to pay my karmic debt by being alive in this terrible time.
Well, I saw a picture, a meme of a baby being born who has this horrible look on its face. And it's thinking, I've been through these lives so many times and gone through all the hell. And then the doctor says, but you're here to help everybody else get through that in this lifetime. I love it.
I hope so. I hope so. That's a good way to look at it.
A lot of people are here to help others get through.
Alice, anything else you want to share before I close the share? You're all good?
I can say that John Anderson appreciated the fact that that I did that Zoom from that day on 9/11, and that the Rockford group decided to have their real meeting at Anderson Garden. And I got a personal handwritten note back from John Anderson with a whole stack of, thanking me, of course, for promoting the garden, and a whole stack of complimentary passes. And he said, whenever you want passes, you just let me know. So,
Alice, that's terrific. So we can hook you up with a tour of Anderson Gardens. And if people are interested in taking advantage of your services, they can contact you. I included your email in the description, and I also included the link to the video you wanted to share at the end of the presentation. Is there any other contact information or information people should know about consulting you or any other astrologist for charts?
But that, I wish I could put my phone on mute. That meme that I sent you about the Space Force taking over Facebook.
Yes.
And that you could post, because that's powerful. It says one big thing down, 8 to go. So it's all happening. The bad guys are paying. I love it.
Excellent.
So we are in an exciting time right now. We really are.
Alice, that's very encouraging. I want to thank you so much. We're gonna keep this recording and post it for other members who didn't get to see it. And if anybody has a question, they can contact me about the video, or Alice, because I'll include your email address, Alice, in the description. Thanks so much, Alice.
Thank you so much, Stanley.